Sunshine Sterling. Willie Rain Cloud. It's time for 3 Up, 3 Down. This is the Sports Source.
Indeed, it is the Sports Source. This segment of the Sports Source is brought to you by Safety Systems, best company in East Tennessee when it comes to security systems and home entertainment. And thanks to you, they are absolutely booming right now to the point where they're bringing in new people. If you are an electrician or a technician looking for a good role with one of Knoxville's most trusted family-owned companies, call VFL JJ Surlis this week. And if you're looking for a security system or a good home entertainment system, call VFL JJ Surlis. So either way, Safety Systems, the folks to call this week. I love this company. I use them all the time. Okay. New member of our 3 Up, 3 Down panel this year will be Bob Hodge. You're going to be on Team Vulture, naturally, with Willie Raincloud here. Chuck filling in for VFL Daniel Hood, who couldn't be here at an emergency this morning. Chuck, you're filling in with Mr. Dove himself, Sterling Hinton. So what we do is we tell you 3 up, 3 down. That's 3 guys who deserve kudos, 3 who deserve judos. We'll start with the ups. Who is your number 1 up in this past game?
Well, I think you got to give some love to Theo Jackson. I mean, he made some good plays. He had 11 tackles, I think 2.5 for loss. Broke up 3 passes. Also was in the return game. So, I mean, I thought and here's one thing that was interesting. He was mad because he did not get to run through the tee because he was a game captain. So I'm saying I would kind of keep it that way and make him a permanent captain.
All right. Sterling, who's up number 2 for you guys?
I'm going as a collective, those running backs,
okay.
Man. They were running the ball.
So they're 2 and 3 at once, okay.
Well, I like them as a group. That's 2, actually.
Oh, so you're cheating and putting somebody else in as your third?
His partner. Look at his partner. He's
I always ask this before we get into the segment.
Sprinkle me, baby. Sprinkle
Go
me,
ahead.
Baby.
So you're going Evans and Small.
Yeah, I love the way they played as a tandem. I like the 1-2 punch. I like the way I like the tenacity which they hit the hole. Those guys made some cuts out there that literally, Bowling Green, they might not be Georgia, but they're still Division I athletes. They whiffed. So, I mean, I like seeing running backs move like that. Reminds me of Chuck and Reggie Cobb.
Tennessee. Chuck Webb and Reggie Cobb. All right, so who's your last one then? Did you have another
I think if you're going to go with the running backs, you got to give some love to the offensive line. We've talked about how they were better.
So you guys are going the entire offensive line and the entire running back. So it's 7 Up. I should get it sponsored. That's brilliant.
You do. You should get sponsored.
All right, let me spin this in my usual negative way here. Who do you start next week? Do you start Small or do you start Evans against Pitt? Who showed you more?
I keep it the same way.
Yeah.
I keep it the same way.
Vultures, do you agree or do you start Evans?
No, I'd go with that.
I knew the Vultures should go there. I thought Small was good, but I thought Evans was better.
I thought Evans looked more dynamic.
And I would flip it. I would keep flipping it. Let them earn it each week. All right. Thanks for your 29. Very.
I played by the rules.
No, you didn't. As usual, I'm just Sterling.
2 and 3.
A win is a win. I want to give it to all 100 guys.
Hey.
All right. Let's go with the downs. Mr. Raincloud, what do you got? Who's number 1 down?
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt. He had 2 big drops. They're really good throws by Milton, and they kind of killed drives. And so that, you look at this game, and we talked about it, with the pace at which the offense is going, if you have a big loss on 3rd down, it puts your defense behind too. So it's a big traction thing that they've got to correct that. You can't lose that kind of play.
Okay.
None of those kind of drops either. They're terrible.
Who's the number 2 down?
I'm still waiting for Dwan Mitchell to get here from Texas.
No tackles.
That is all we heard about was how good he was going to be, how much he was going to help this defense. And I went back and looked at the game stats. The linebackers had 11.5 tackles, which I thought was a little light for a group.
Yeah.
And he had none of them.
Well, and here's the thing. UT's website, their numbers aren't meshing with some of the other websites I'm looking at with the numbers. They've adjusted them. Somebody told me this morning that Mitchell has been credited with a tackle now, that they went back and credited him with a tackle. They've changed the numbers for Evans and Small from what they were at game day. But anyway,
I can
2
dump
guys
this
over
on
100.
David Ubbin. It was the Athletics where I got my number.
Well, everybody else has 0 tackles.
Yeah.
UT apparently has gone back and said, give him 1. I haven't looked this morning myself. But anyway, Juwan Mitchell didn't have the big impact everyone. Now, here's the thing. He may have played great, just didn't get any tackles. He may have been in the right spot all day, but in terms of all the hype and he's going to be the leading tackler, we all thought,
It's hard to have a great game as a
Right.
middle linebacker.
Yeah, not good tackles.
I'll be honest with
Yeah, I
you.
know. All right. Who else? Trying to be nice. What about, I'm sitting here next to Sterling. So what do you want? All right. Down. Who's your third down, guys?
Nitpicking, but I did Tyrell Barron just because I expected a little bit more out of this, especially against a Bowling Green type team. And really, if I looked at that outside pass rush is where I was most concerned. And that's a guy that I would expect to be able to beat a guy off the edge. And really where he won was on the inside, and he was on the inside. That's the only place he ever won. And you can't do that because the offensive line eventually figures out, and you're going to lose when you play bigger teams if you can't scare somebody off the edge.
I thought he popped a couple times. There were a couple times where I thought, oh, there's your talent for Tyler Barron. I kind of like seeing it, but that sounds like that's more of a down because you expect more of him.
I expect more of him. It is that
It's kind
way.
of the same thing with Juwan Mitchell.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
See, I would have. Jerome Carvin had 2 holding penalties. To me,
Well, if we were going to get
That would be a
17
thing.
like these guys,
Yeah, we can go there too.
we can keep adding them in.
all right. Let me throw out another up. As the host and producer, I do anything I want. I'll throw out an up to the coaching staff though. First of all, I thought that their halftime adjustments, whether they made schematic adjustments there or if it was just lighting a fire at halftime, that team came out with a completely different attitude to start that third quarter. Totally different circumstances, not the same team at all, but it was reminiscent of the post-Sterner fumble against Arkansas where it was just handoff, 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 boom, boom, boom. It looked like that Arkansas game. 8 runs right down their throat for the touchdown. And then the defense came out with the student section behind them and smothered them. Kudos for that. And I told you guys I was going to do this, and you guys also said, the Vultures here said, also give them credit because they didn't, their guys didn't look confused.
Yeah.
For a first game?
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't out there. They didn't know where they weren't supposed to be, and they weren't checking right before the
They
play
weren't-
talking
weren't-
to somebody
Exactly.
the ball.
They weren't
Exactly.
doing this over the sideline looking for Pruitt.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad we got John P. on our side, Chuck. He took the whole staff. He didn't take one person. He's on Team 17 too, baby. Let's go for the win.
I have to take that. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. Sterling, you've actually got a UT event you've got to run to. So
I do.
For that line, get out. Thanks. When we come back, we have a lot more to come, as I told you in that last segment, including previews of Pitt. But next, 4 rapid-fire questions on 4 different topics, and these guys haven't seen them yet. And I guarantee you they'll be mean. Come on back.